was almost having to learn again, what is it like to kind of blend in, something I hadn't done in a long, long time. I'll always remember going swimming for the first time, I think I was 30. You know, I was 30 years old the next time I went swimming without a shirt on. You know, I'll always remember that, who I was with, where we were. I remember breaking down at the lake and crying in front of my friends, and they're like, well, what's wrong? We thought you'd be happy. And I'm like, I am. You know, imagine you've waited all these years to do something as simple as go swimming without a shirt on.
Being able to sing for me in front of people is another way to get a message across, to share my experience, to let people know, yeah, I have arthritis, but I'm doing this. I'm going after one of the biggest dreams in my life.
Everyone around me keeps telling me to change. They say I ought to sing it a little more like they. I just want to be me. I don't want to be someone's beauty queen, living someone else's dream. And I like the way I sing. I just want to be me. I don't need no one to tell me how, 'cause I figured myself out, and that's all I need. I just want to be me.
I mean, I was to the point where psychologically, I mean, I didn't want to live no more. I mean, I was that depressed. Luckily, I had a good family, a strong base there to help support me. My mom, my dad, my brother. If it wasn't for them, I mean, I don't know what I would have done.
Hi, this is Travis Melvin with Good News Broadcast, and today we're speaking with three of the stars and the writer, producer, and director of the new movie Innerstate. How are everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good. And that would be Janie Feliz, Ray Ciccarelli, Jason Knott, as well as Chris Valentino. And this movie Innerstate, it just premiered in New York last night. Is that right?
That is right. It was a great time, and it was a good opportunity for everyone to actually finally get together to see the film in a big fun room.
Yeah, probably a big reward after working so hard to make it, I would guess.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And Chris, why don't you go ahead and just give our listeners a brief introduction on what this movie's about?
Well, Interstate chronicles the true life journey of Jason, Ray, and Janie, who all suffer from a chronic illness. Rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, and Crohn's disease are just three autoimmune diseases that affect millions of people. And the goal of the film was to really kind of chronicle their journey from first being diagnosed to kind of coming to terms and understanding what their disease is, and for some of them, perhaps the first time they've ever heard what the disease was, and really to kind of look at their family support and how it got them through dealing with the changes that they were going through to a point where they finally are today, where they've got a treatment that's working well for them and they're on course to following their dreams.
There's everything good about that. It sounds like such a great thing, and it sounds really interesting too. And maybe Janie, Ray, and Jason, or in whichever order you want, maybe you could give our audience just a little bit of history about each one of you is suffering from a different type of chronic disease. Is that correct?
Yes,
That is correct.
Why don't you go ahead?
I was going to say, I actually have what's called plaque psoriasis, and I have had psoriasis since the age of 6. So for me, it's just shy of almost 30 years of living with this disease.
All right.
And I have rheumatoid arthritis. It's polyarticular. It's basically from my neck down in every single one of my joints. It's an autoimmune disease as well, and it can be sometimes most of the time, a crippling disease.
Yeah, basically I have Crohn's disease, which causes severe diarrhea, abdominal pains, cramps, bleeding in your stool, fatigued, and stuff like that.
And I mention that because I know we have a lot of listeners that are at home or watching our web stream on TV that can relate, and that when they see this movie or hear you guys, it's really going to be an inspiration to them to see that you guys can do this great things, even though you're suffering from something that a lot of people might not have to overcome in their regular lives. And why don't you talk a little bit about maybe how the three of you got involved, or did I don't know if Chris seeked you guys out, or how you heard about this project?
Well, I think once they knew that the project of this type was actually going to be taking place, they all expressed some interest. And I had the opportunity to meet with a host of people that were interested in participating, because everyone kind of came from the same standpoint that they had a message that they wanted to get across, that they wanted to reach out, to tell other people, their stories, to hopefully motivate them to do the same. Because a lot of times, with certain diseases, you're not always going to be forthcoming with discussing them, especially, not to single Ray out here, but with his disease, socially, sometimes it's not something that you're gonna open up and really discuss openly with everyone that you can. So, but it was very important for him to say, hey, look, regardless of what this is, you got to get out there, you got to help yourself. And I don't want to put words in everyone's mouth here, but I think that was the big point that they wanted to get across, is to really reach everyone.
Yeah, and I think serve as an inspiration to them, and by creating this movie, that was kind of the medium to help get the message out to everybody else.
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
no doubt. They did a fantastic job, really showing what each and every one of us went through and our families went through, with each of our diseases. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and this is a 60-minute in high definition. I read earlier too. I thought, man, I'm gonna have to go out and see this one.
Oh, please do. I think you're gonna hopefully love what you see and really get a chance to know these people for who they are and their message.
Yeah, and I think the best part is that it's going to reverberate. I think there's probably a lot of people, quote unquote, suffering in silence, or who maybe aren't as apt to get out or share or try to help get past some of these things that movies and projects and stuff like this is such a great thing.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And Chris, talk about a little bit how this documentary might have affected you in the process of making it, or any changes from the beginning to the end of going through this.
Well, for me, it was always a personal journey. I have someone in my own family who suffers from an autoimmune disease, and seeing how that affects him on a day-to-day, just struggle, and knowing that there's really not much that you can do personally to help them, because you're not a physician, or you don't have like the magic pill that's going to make everything all right. So from that standpoint, it was always I wanted to explore the journey through the eyes of the family and the support around that, and just kind of emphasize how important it is. And I think that's why sometimes I think people need to open up to discuss their illnesses with their friends or with their physicians and their family members, just so that they can get that support. And if you feel that maybe that's not a place that you can turn to for whatever reason, there's if you visit our website, myinnerstate.com, you'll find links there to other organizations that hopefully provide support. And and each of these folks have opened up their lives to be there as well for support. I know that Janie, through her website, you can contact her if you've got any questions about rheumatoid arthritis or what she's done. And it's something that I think they're very passionate about getting the message across, and that's why they're here. And for me, it was a great reward to be able to be with all of them today and just say, hey, look, we're doing something good that hopefully will reach a lot of people, to get them to go out and seek alternatives to maybe the treatments that may not be working for them, or to find treatments altogether.
Absolutely, I think that's such a great thing. And maybe Janie, Ray, and Jason, maybe you guys can touch on what, I don't know if I'm sure family plays a role in the support network as well as friends, but maybe touch on what some of the biggest things that impacted you in terms of support, maybe, from the beginning of finding out that you had these chronic diseases, even through the movie, or that some of our listeners at home can maybe gain from your experiences.
Well, you certainly hit the topic there, right there with family. Having had psoriasis since age 6, obviously my mother and father and my family have played a large part in my life as far as the diagnosis, treatments, trips to the doctor. But not only that, they also played a large role in emotional support. So at the point when I had psoriasis really, really bad, my skin was really covered. Obviously, being a little kid or young adult, kids can be cruel to other kids. So Mom and Dad were tremendously influential in kind of helping shielding me from some of the pain that I might otherwise have been subject to.
And it's really hard to talk about something that is so personal in our lives. Day by day to every new face that you meet. You don't just go up to someone and say, "Hi, I'm Janie, and I have rheumatoid arthritis," because no one knows what that is. So the awareness fact of the documentary is key, is everything. For me, it helps me, transition from a child to an adult, and it just tells the story of how I'm dealing with arthritis now and growing up. And because I've had it since I was 11 years old, that's all I've known. And really, without the support of my family and other people and living my dream and having something and, to believe in, I seriously wouldn't be in the physical state that I am, or being able to, just speak to everyone who could possibly, use just a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, just like Jason. I mean, my family was basically my mom was the backbone, keeping us all together and helping me get through this. And, it's definitely important, if you're not feeling good, go to the doctors, tell them every symptom you're having. Don't leave nothing out, because, you could be leaving out something important. And, there's a lot of support groups out there. And you don't have to be sick, to come see this documentary. You'd be surprised when you get done seeing it. You might realize, somebody that knows somebody that has, one of these 3 diseases, and, you educate yourself on it too.
Well, that's great, and I hope all of your parents and your support network are so proud now that this movie is out and the message is kind of reverberating. And are you guys off on a national tour now that this movie's just getting released? What's next for you guys?
Well, it's a 14-city tour, and you can check that out on myinnerstate.com. and see where all the located documentary tour is going to take place. But also, I want to encourage everyone to go see it because it's free. And, really you can't get anything out of it but just some type of hope and some information to help someone else out. So really, this documentary is just going to be just one big helping, y'all can help, anyone can encourage someone and make their life a little bit easier just by awareness.
God, I didn't realize it was free. That's 60 minutes of high-definition inspiration.
There you
go. Who could say no to that, right?
Exactly.
Great. And so we're going to link over to your website, which is myinnerstate.com, along with this article and this stream on our website. But Janie, Ray, and Jason, thanks for being an inspiration and just continuing to get the word out there. And Chris, thanks also for helping come together and give a medium that's going to give a message out to so many more people. And I wish you guys the best on your tour.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your good news with us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.